Like we want to go to the extremes of showing, so you can do it later, but I really recommend like using this course to master show don't tell, so that so that later you can use it as you wish, and you can tone it down. But now try to make the reader guess and or draw conclusions of his own. Okay, the reason we use show don't tell is partly because of the way that the human brain works, the human cognition. So the way that we see things, and I've talked about this before in this course, is that the brain is a master at filling in the gaps. So we are absolutely not able to see objective reality. This has been proven by neuroscience, and the thing is, what we see with our eyes is frequencies of light. That's what eyes detect, and we interpret those frequencies of light to activate certain neurons in our brain that activate certain images, and those images are then put together in a massive jigsaw puzzle which creates what we see. So we have a lot of read-only memory. We have a lot of stuff that we just put together. And that is what happens with everything, because our brain doesn't have very much processing power. It doesn't have probably even as much processing power as a computer. But our brain is much smarter with other things than a computer is. So what we do is we fill in the gaps. We have a lot we have very, very good visual cells at the center of our vision. So we can see things very clearly at the focus of our vision, but things that are at the periphery of our vision, we actually don't see a very good representation of them. We think that we do because we already have an idea of what's around us, but we don't really, because we can have very low resolution images of most things, because, for example, I'm sitting here in this room, I expect everybody to stay seated and to behave in a civilized manner, and so that means I don't have to have my processing power focused on all the people sitting here, and that's the same for all of you. But if somebody got up and started doing crazy stuff and throwing chairs out the window, immediately you'd be using your processing power on them. But we just fill in blanks. So it's been shown in experiments. For example, you've had experiments with a guy, like the gorilla experiment. Did we talk about that? Sorry?
Follow the ball. Follow the ball.
Yeah, follow the ball. Yeah, how many times did the ball pass? Did you see the gorilla? No, because I was focusing on the ball and I just expected everything else to be normal. You all know it? Okay, so very short. There was this psychologist who had an experiment where he sat people down, look at this video and tell me how many times did the ball passed, and by the blue team. And they just followed the players in the blue team, and they saw them passing the ball, and people would say 6 times, and the guy would say, yep, you're right, 6 times, and they were like happy because they passed the test. They're like, okay, did you see the gorilla? And it's like, no. Okay, in more than 50% of the cases they didn't see the gorilla. So then he'd say, okay, watch the film again. And they watch the film again, and in the middle of the game a guy comes in wearing a gorilla suit, a big guy. He walks in between the players and stands there beating his chest like a gorilla. And then he walks out slowly to the other side, and he doesn't even hurry. He's there for a long time. But people didn't see the gorilla because that wasn't what they were looking for. And everything else is just low resolution. So, and we would have seen the gorilla if the gorilla had got up and gone in front of the ball, because we were following the ball. So if he had stood in front of the ball, we're like, what is this blocking the vision? Then he would be relevant. Otherwise, we just expect him to be one of the other players that were irrelevant. So this is how our vision works. We fill in the blanks, and in fact, it's not just that we have a low resolution image, it's also that our brain tends to just fill in the blanks and just show us another player. This is what happens here as well. When you do show don't tell, you create blanks that the brain of the reader fills in. And that means that since the brain itself of the reader is creating those images, that means that those images will be far more vivid than if you tell them what to see. Like, if I tell you King Kong was very big, you're like, okay, what does that even mean? What does that mean? I'm not going to see an image of King Kong. If you say King Kong looked down at the Empire State Building, you're like, oh, okay.
Gives you a reference somehow.
Yeah, and it's showing, not telling. And you're like, oh my God. And then you make your own judgment when you read that and you say, he's huge, man, and you feel it and you fill in the blanks.